We will now address some of the frequently asked questions about the rules to UNGA BUNGA. One question we hear often is, can I make items after I have drawn new cards? The answer is no. You are only permitted to use the 5 cards that you started with at the beginning of your turn. Once you draw a new card from either the deck or from another player's hand, your turn is over. This leads us to another question we often get. Can I throw more than one wild animal per turn? The answer is no. Because the act of sending a wild animal after one of your opponents inherently results in you either stealing one of their cards or drawing a new card from the deck, that action signifies the end of your turn. This also prevents players from throwing a wild animal and stealing a wild animal, and throwing another wild animal and stealing another wild animal forever until there are no longer any wild animals left in the game. Another question we often get is, can a player declare UNGA BUNGA with 2 items left to make? Although it is uncommon, the answer is yes, provided that a player has the 4 cards that they need to make their final 2 items on their next turn. They can declare UNGA BUNGA. With regards to declaring UNGA BUNGA, we are often asked, can a player declare UNGA BUNGA when it is not their turn? Yes. Players may declare UNGA BUNGA when it is not their turn. However, this is not recommended because you must allow each opponent one opportunity to throw wild animals at you after you have declared UNGA BUNGA before you can make your final item and win the game. If you have declared UNGA BUNGA when it is not your turn, at least one player will get 2 opportunities to throw wild animals at you before you can make your final item. A couple questions that we hear often are, can I take cards from the discard pile? And can I replace the wild cards that I've used to make items later on? The answer to both of these questions is no. All of the cards that have been used, whether to make items or discarded, are no longer in active play and cannot be taken off of the table. This is why it's important that when you make doubles of the same items, the doubles are placed into the discard pile, so in the event the draw pile is exhausted and you have to reshuffle the discard pile, it has enough items in it to finish the game. One question we occasionally get is, can I use a choppy stick as a tool? The answer to this is no. Although the choppy stick and the tool are similar in appearance, the tool is a very rudimentary construction, and the choppy stick is much more advanced. To make a tool, you are going to need a holdy stick and a smashy rock. A choppy stick will not work. A question we've been asked before is, can I throw wild animals at any other player? And the answer is yes. You do not have to throw wild animals at the player directly next to you, and you can throw wild animals at any player you wish. Another question we often get is, can I make clothes from my own wild animal? And the answer is yes, provided you have a weapon that is sufficient enough to defeat your wild animal. You can pair those two cards to make clothes. Another question we sometimes get is, can I throw wild animals after my opponents if I don't have a tool or if they don't have a tool? And the answer is yes. You can send a wild animal after your opponent if you don't have a tool, and they can defeat the wild animal if they don't have a tool. The only thing they cannot do is use those cards to make clothes if they haven't made their first tool yet. Those cards will have to go into the discard pile. We are often asked about the specifics regarding dropping 4 or 5 cards in order to catch up to the other players. Some people ask, when am I allowed to discard 4 or 5 cards? You may only discard 4 or 5 cards if at least one other player has made a tool and you have not yet made your tool. We are often asked, after I drop 4 or 5 cards, can I still make a play? And the answer is no. After you have dropped 4 or 5 cards and picked up 4 or 5 new cards, your turn is over. People often ask, can I discard 2 or 3 cards rather than 4 or 5? And the answer is no. Discarding 4 or 5 cards plays into the game's strategy, where players must choose whether or not they are willing to sacrifice the cards in their hand in the hopes of obtaining better cards. This concludes the frequently asked questions section of the UNGA BUNGA tutorial. We hope that you now have a full understanding on how to play the game UNGA BUNGA. If you have any further questions, you can email us at info@hkogames.ca, and our team will be happy to reach out to you and solve any questions that you have. Thank you for watching this tutorial, and we hope that you enjoy playing UNGA BUNGA.